All right, today on Study Ball, we're going to take a look at some Seattle Seahawks stuff here and really just the idea of body language and attacking certain coverage in a certain play. And so a play that everybody runs is either what we call double seam or double go, which means we're going to have a seam here and something that either converts or runs a go outside. Going to have a seam here and then a go outside as well. And so it's designed for cover 3. So you hit those inside seams, but obviously it's good against any coverage. All right, a coverage that you now see so often is what we call Tampa 2. So Tampa 2, it's going to be a 2-high look, these corners sitting down tight, and then the Tampa part of it is this Mike linebacker right here. So he is taught to play basically the underneath middle section of the field, but then also to push and almost become like a third deep receiver. So they try to cheat this based on certain guys. If a guy gets into his face, attacks the middle, he can squat and jump him. Otherwise, he's taught to get deep as the deepest coming up the inside. And so now it becomes a combination of a 2-shell, 3-shell, depending on what teams do. All right, so we're attacking this double seam concept against Tampa 2. So what we're always looking to do is we want to see what this guy does. So, you know, there's different ways in which teams do it, okay? Sometimes they turn this guy to the field. Sometimes they'll turn him to the third receiver or the back. We don't really know, but anytime we're running double seam, what we're really trying to do with our double seam against cover 2 is get 2-on-1 on one of these safeties, okay? So an inside-outside push deep against one of those safeties. But with Tampa 2, this guy now becomes a factor on the inside portion of the seam in the direction that he turns. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to see which way he turns, and then we want to attack the opposite side. So he's going to open to this side. Here's where we want to look with our 2-on-1 off of this safety. So they leave this gap here based on this Mike backer turning the other direction. We want to read 1 to 2 off of this safety back here once we get a read on that Mike linebacker. So that's all I'm looking at right here. Come back. I know it's Tampa 2. I want to see him open. Now my eyes go right to this guy. Reading inside, out. Great opportunity right here. Bang. Right there to the seam. If you don't like it, you see this guy start to squat, and you're going to see Tyler Lockett go down the sideline. You get a 2-on-1, but it's vital that you go away from the Mike linebacker and then be ready to anticipate that throw right there. Russell Wilson decides to check it down, which is an okay option too, obviously, right? Because this Mike linebacker is getting out of there and playing deep. He voids that middle. So that's the secondary option that we want to get that ball to him and replace that void. All good right there. Blake Martinez plays it really, really well because as he's dropping, it's all about eyes, right? Seeing his eyes, seeing which way the quarterback's looking. Oftentimes they'll turn one direction and spin the other direction, or knowing this is the voided area, he's waiting for that throw, and then he's going to attack. So it is a short gain, and he's there to make the tackle as well. All right, let's take another look at it. Okay, so now, once again, ball's in the middle, so he could turn either direction. He's going to turn this direction here. Russell Wilson peeking backside. See, he's getting this out so quick that he's not even reading down the field. He's almost just looking, hey, this guy gets deep, drop your check down, which is fine. But if you want to take your shot, there it is right there. There's your shot right there. This one's coming as well. The safety's so deep, he's not even really a factor on either one of them. So he turns to that hash. Be ready to drive that here and get your big play. If that safety squeezes or is tighter, then you can work to your outside guy because you see the big void here. But understanding how to attack this against Tampa 2, away from that Mike backer, be ready to look in that seam because oftentimes when they play Tampa, these guys, these outside linebackers are taught to read the eyes of the quarterback. And so if the quarterback looks one direction, they're taught to squeeze. So they're not really carrying into these holes. That's why those holes are so great against Tampa 2 and why we have to be ready for that throw. These guys carry a little bit here. not necessarily great at Tampa 2. It's not their primary thing that they do, but they're peeking and being ready to squeeze here. So you can use your eyes, quarterbacks, to work guys backside backer in these directions and then hit your seam up over the top. And again, check down's not a bad option because it voids that area, but I always like to read high to low, always like to take the big shots because I think seam is great against Tampa 2 as long as you know what you're looking at. All right, so that one was on the body language of the Mike backer, okay? This one is a play that we call corner, okay? So it's simply just a deep corner here and something to the flat to hold the flat defender, all right? Once again, we like this against cover 2, high safety, corner down, okay? This corner is gonna hold leverage on the safety, so it really becomes an isolation on this cornerback right here who is trying to play the flat. Okay, and so everything about this is about body language and positioning of this corner right here. All right, so there's a couple different ways we can look at this. Okay, and we have to look at body language, but also depth of where he's at. Okay, so when he turns his hips to the field, okay, so he's not getting them lined up with the line of scrimmage. He turns his hips this way. So they're not parallel to the line of scrimmage, they're perpendicular to the line of scrimmage. When he does that, we've got to be leery as a quarterback that now he's in a position to both fall back or come up. Okay, so he's kind of in that position where he's trying to play both of these guys. Okay, and so I understand you got to be a little bit leery of that position. But here's what we got to look at as well. We've got to look at width and depth of that guy also. So we see the body language, turns his hips back inside so he can play both underneath and deep, okay? But look how tight he is to the line of scrimmage. Look how tight he is to our underneath route. And so when I see that sort of body language, what it tells me is that if he stays down tight, I can still make this throw. But what I have to do with this throw is I have to drive it in the first window, okay? If he were to turn his hips to the line of scrimmage and flatten here, now it's going to be hard for him to spin all the way around and play this. So now this throw can go up and over him more towards the sideline. So the body language of that corner will tell us, A, which guy we can throw to, okay? If he's dropped back and he's deeper and he's got his hips, turned perpendicular to the line of scrimmage, we probably have to take this underneath one. If he turns his hips like that and he stays down tight, we can still take our deep shot, but we have to be ready. Have to be ready to let that thing go right there in that window, and we're going to beat him with this throw. We're going to beat him because we know he can fall back. If we lay this out to the sideline, he can fall back and make a play. So even though he's trying to play both and midline both, if we get him down tight with his hips this way, now we have to adjust where we're going to throw this football, how we're going to throw this football. And we have to be ready as a quarterback when we come out and we see that body language. We're still going to read him. If he's got that body language and drops back, now we'll just dump it off. But if he's got that body language and squats there close to the line of scrimmage, be ready to attack this in the first window right there with a quick throw, not up and over, but now I'm beating the corner right there. I'm beating the corner with this throw because there's a great window right here. But you see, if I was going to lay this out here, he's in great position to fall back on it. So the throw, okay, the read is off of the body language of the corner, both the way he turns his hips and the depth that he has. And then we have to understand that you can make different kinds of throws. How many different throws can you make as a quarterback? If you can only throw this out here to the sideline late like this, well, now it makes it harder for you to get that throw and get the chunk throw if you want it. But if you can see this and be ready and drive this throw as well, now you've opened up your possibilities on this play based on what this guy does, and now it's just become a lot harder for him to play both guys and play all the different throws that you can make. Okay, he dumps it down there because he wasn't ready to take that first window throw. And again, nothing wrong with this. We can take this, work that corner. He falls back enough. We get a nice little gain there. But we always want to be ready to get that second level throw. Okay, now we're going to look at it down here. We're going to have the same thing. Okay, we're going to read the body language of the corner. Once again, he's opening his hips. He's opening his hips. So again, I can't think to myself, I can't lay this up over because he can drop back and get it. So he turns his hips enough. We can always make this throw, but you see how he's trying to midline this, right? Oh, go ahead and make that flat throw. I'm going to jump it. But I'm going to sit here and I'm going to take away this deep corner throw too. I'm not going to give you any options. That's why as a quarterback, you've got to be ready for option number 3, which if this guy opens his hips and squats, is a first window throw. You see the space that's there, but it's not a huge window, so it has to be thrown on time. You throw that late, this guy comes, and he picks it off. Even if you're trying to drive it in that window, you throw it late, he can pick that off. You throw it up over, he can drop and pick that off or make it a problem as well. So you have to be ready on this play. You got to come out, eyes on the corner. Where do his hips go? Okay, his hips go inside. So I know I've got 2 options when his hips turn to the inside like this. I've either got this quick throw that I got to be ready for first, and then I can recover to this flat or out if he drops late. But I have to be ready for this one first. I can't think under to over. I've got to think over to under, just like on the double seam. I can't come back and hesitate. I got to be ready in the window opposite the Mike backer on double seam. I got to be ready in the window opposite this corner or beating this corner. If he plays this way and he tries to midline both, that's enough room. If he's ready and he throws this on time, that is a big chunk play to the second level. But got to know what we're looking at, got to know body language and width and depth of this guy, because that is so important. But quarterbacks, it really comes down to how many throws can you make? How many different throws on the same route do you have in your arsenal? Because the more you have, the more chance to be successful and create some of these big plays. The less you have, the more you're going to have to settle for either the underneath throws or trying to buy time like this and create. But good thing is Russell Wilson's great at that, but not all of us are.